Hello! Yes, I know I am late and gay and cringe, but at least I am happy. This is one of the millions of excuses I have for being lazy, and so be it. Welcome to Shithouse of Horrors 12. This used to be a spooky-themed series, but now it's just a reason for me to produce content at roughly the same schedule every year, no matter what. But at this point, it's just a reason for me to fulfill the prophecy of everybody gets one. And in that advent, it had occurred to me that I had never given the one to this man. I should probably do that, because he might not be long for this world on account of his controversial treatment of dogs. He was pictured allegedly electrocuting one. For anyone who's watching this in the future, in the event that you have forgotten, many of you already have. His controversial approach to humans, wrong-thinking humans, seems to be an afterthought for some reason, but whatever. If treating dogs anything like as sadistically as he would treat humans, if that's what ushers in his demise, so be it. I will get this in before his ultimate demise is exacted for whatever reason. Please take it away, Mr. Piker.
I hate fucking streaming. I hate socialism. I hate every single fucking person who thinks that the peak of activism is just being the most annoying, holier than thou, the most ultimately woke leftist. You did it. You did it. You have unlocked the fucking nihilism within me, okay? I am black-pilled. Nothing will ever get better. We are never going to make it out. We can't even have a normal fucking non-hostile goddamn conversation.
I feel for you, sir. I really do. I, too, am experiencing socialism fatigue. But in my case, I've been experiencing it for my lifetime. And unlike you, in expressing that experience, I'm not biting the hand that feeds me. I'm biting the hand that steals from me. See, I love my audience, no matter how diminished it becomes for whatever reason. You, on the other hand, have the luxury of hating your audience because your audience will keep being replenished, no matter how indefensibly hypocritical you reveal yourself to be. I don't have that luxury. No matter how consistent I am. For instance, I love dogs. I love them so much that I would never keep them locked inside my human box for my own amusement. As far as I'm concerned, it would be cruel if I did that. And for that, I am accused of hating dogs by people who do keep dogs locked inside their human box for their own amusement. It's a funny old world. Whereas you, Mr. Piker, you use a more extreme version of cruelty against dogs in order to keep them locked inside an even smaller perimeter of a human box. And your audience will never accuse you of hating dogs. But, as I just illustrated, cruelty against dogs is something that's been mindlessly normalized over the centuries because we have to do this to our dog prisoners, otherwise they might, escape. And anyone who would let them escape and live their own God-given natural lives clearly hates dogs. Has it occurred to anyone who's listening to me right now that I'm not just talking about dogs? I'm talking about socialism. About how fucking mental it is to trap any animal, let alone a human, inside this stifling paradigm and just try to justify it by saying, we're doing this for your own good. But Mike, what about your own children? Surely we're supposed to keep children locked inside the human box for their own good. Thank you for asking. Very good question. Well, no, psycho question, actually. Dogs are not the same as your own fucking offspring, to whom you necessarily bear responsibility. Do I really need to explain this? Do you really not realize how psychotic you sound to have even pretended that you don't know the difference between your own children and selectively mutated members of a completely different species? Or the difference between your own dependent children and the fully grown, independent adult humans that make up a nation. Terribly sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Well, I did. That is the premise of the Halloween theme, after all. The scariest thing you can encounter is the demon that lives in your brain and to the best of your knowledge has always lived in your brain, so you don't even know how to get it out. It will never even occur to you that you need to get it out. Until a horrific monster like me so much as floats such a notion. It just seems like an inseparable part of your pathology. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and roast Hasan Piker.
On any of these issues, everybody just simply wants to fucking chirp into the wind because they have no power and they recognize their utter powerlessness in the face of unjustifiable constructs that we fucking exist under. And the best possible fucking thing you can do is just be goddamn annoying, okay? Oh. Oh, God.
Presented without comment. Let's move on, shall we?
One of the worst aspects of like this kind of gathering online is that I think people don't behave like this in the real world. That's unironically what I was talking about. That's why I have so much hope for the future of America when I'm out in the fucking streets, right?
Wrong. People absolutely do act like brain-dead, purity-spiraling socialists in the real world. It seems normal to you because you're a brain-dead, purity-spiraling socialist. The only thing that seems abnormal to you is those who have fallen further down the purity spiral than you have. They got this far down because of the likes of you, Hasan. You push the envelope as far as you can, and so there are some people who push it even further. Personally, I would advise you to at least consider pulling the envelope back a little bit. But in any case, you should make peace with the idea that you live in a spectrum. Some of you may be interpreting spectrum in a way I did not mean it, but whatever. A joke is a joke, a laugh is a laugh. Do bear in mind, cluster B is also a spectrum. Is it? Yes! It's the opposite of the spectrum you were probably just thinking about, dear average listener. I hope you're pondering what I'm pondering, pinko.
It's virtually impossible not to be blackpilled if you're online all the fucking time. Everything that we do here is so bad. Is so fucking bad.
Consider the people who get all their news from the television, or from broadcast media in general, or from the press in general. They get black-pilled for all the wrong reasons. They get white-pilled for all the wrong reasons, namely lies. They think we're being ruled by Nazis. And your audience, Hasan, also thinks they're being ruled by Nazis on account of being in the astroturfed part of the internet. So I would invite you to join us in the uncurated alternative media, where we can at least hypothesize that we are in fact ruled by oikophobic, misandric socialists. That will also blackpill you, but at least it's a black pill based on the fucking obvious truth. There's nothing wrong with being black-pilled by the fucking obvious truth. The truth is what's important. If you're being white-pilled by lies, you can at least say you're happy until the truth inevitably comes to bite you in the ass, or indeed stab you in the chest, as the case may so often be. But if you're being black-pilled by lies, yes, that is obviously the worst of all avenues. If the world is being burned alive by dragons, and all you can think is the world isn't being burned alive enough by dragons, woe is me, then yes, that is going to present nothing but hardship for your mental health. No matter when it is that the truth hits you like a freight train or stabs you in the fucking chest. Because you'll just keep blaming it on St. George for having the audacity to post a spicy tweet about the latest casualties of the fucking dragon. That is when you should touch grass. Especially if you already have millions of dollars in the bank. If all the depressing, infuriating lies are getting you down, you should probably discard all of the depressing, infuriating lies. You don't have to do this anymore. Hasan, you have enough money to keep you in a lifetime supply of chicken tendies. I mean, you already did. You were already a pampered Nepo baby who never needed to lift a finger. You never needed to be here in the first place, adding insult to injury in the pursuit of brain-dead Islamo-communism. Go home, Hasan. You're not adding anything significant to the conversation. You're just being used and abused as a flapping mouthpiece for an already established ideology. The same thing happened with Joe Biden. And it was sad enough when it happened to a burned-out octogenarian zombie who doesn't know where the fuck he is. But you, my dude, are 34 years old. And you don't know where the fuck you are either. You are Joseph Stalin living in Stalinist Russia, yet you think you are Anne Frank living in Nazi Germany. You live in a hallucination, Hasan, in which you imagine yourself to be the oppressed, despite living in the ass-wiped decadence of the oppressor. And that really is the worst of both worlds. And believe me, I understand the dynamic, at least at some scale. When I was just a lowly postman, by all accounts, I should have been depressed as all hell, but I wasn't. I woke up early every day and I exercised for many hours every day because I had to. I had no choice. And as a result, I was healthy. When you wake up early every day and you physically exercise for several hours, it's sort of, paradoxically, it doesn't deplete your mental energy. It actually augments your mental energy. You come home from that exercise and you're like, you're ready to conquer the world. That's why I worked so hard back in the day. But once I was successful enough at conquering the world, successful enough to quit my day job, I found myself sinking into the degeneracy of waking up whenever I felt like it, i.e. at noon instead of at dawn. And I only got as much exercise as I felt like getting, i.e. none. And for a few years it was fun. For a few years it was the ideal life. But it's been 10 years of waking up without urgency and never getting any exercise. And obviously I can't exactly complain. It's the precise definition of a first world problem. I mean, I did earn this privilege, the privilege of working from home as my own boss. But this privilege is what makes me so lazy. Well, it's what gives me no excuse for being so lazy. And I have no excuses. There's nothing stopping me from setting my alarm for 5 o'clock every morning and going for a brisk walk for 5 hours a day. But I don't do that because there's no urgency that calls upon me to do that. And it would be wonderful if I was earning $1,000 a day for this privilege, like you are. That would at least offer a further, motivation. Unfortunately, in the light of various incidents involving YouTube and Patreon and their rejection of wrong thinkers over the years, I am now lucky if I make $1,000 a month, which is barely enough to pay my rent and my bills. I'm now getting so poor that I'm considering moving in with my parents and saving money while I look after them in their twilight years and maybe help them in the process of looking after my various nephews. And just to be clear, I wouldn't necessarily consider that a downgrade. A downsizing, sure, but not a downgrade. I'm kind of thinking, well, why wouldn't I? I know there's all these stereotypes about how the worst thing a man can possibly be is living with his family, but, why? The fuck is wrong with several generations of the same family living together in the same oikos? In case you didn't know, that has been how things have always worked, especially in the working class, for, check notes, the entirety of human history up until very fucking recently. I'm sure you can relate, Hasan, right? You don't have to cook your own chicken tendies, right? You get Mumsy to do it for you. And frankly, good for you. You rake in millions of dollars. It only makes sense that you add those millions of dollars to the family coffers in exchange for the occasional piping hot plate of chicken tendies. Don't get me wrong, there are lots of things I don't like about you, Hasan. But the fact that you live with your family is not one of them. For all these stereotypes about men's rights activists still living in their parents' basements, inapplicable as those stereotypes generally are, I don't hold it against you. That even though you're a millionaire, you still live with your millionaire family. There's nothing wrong with that. Families should stick together. And frankly, we in the West, we natives in the West, are approaching an economic situation in which we might have to live with our family, with our parents, and indeed among 3 generations of our families. Again, I ask, what exactly is wrong with that? Well, it's because a man is supposed to have his own property. All right, is a woman supposed to have her own property? No, weirdly enough, that's not a derogatory stereotype put in place to stifle women. It's perfectly fine if a woman lives with her parents right up until she can find a man or a government subsidy that can pay for a whole new property in which she can live. And this is not just a Western tradition, by the way. It's a modern affectation that's spreading like wildfire across the West and the East and the Middle East and the rest of the world. A man is expected to leave his family home if he wants to start an extension of that family, or even if he doesn't. Whereas women don't have to do shit. Women are not stigmatized into doing that, even in this age of modernity, when they get better job prospects than men, because of DEI and all that bullshit. She can obtain all that prosperity and still not be stigmatized for continuing to live rent-free with her family, just like Hasan Piker. And again, to be perfectly butt-fuck honest, that's a bloody good idea. Why not live in proximity to your parents and let your children live in proximity to you so you can all help each other in your old age and your young age? Why not overlap these conveniences? And if your answer is, well, because you're supposed to, well, it seems like someone has a case of the spostas. If you're trying to appeal to tradition, I would remind you that this is a very recent tradition for men to separate themselves from their families. And pardon my anus, but recent tradition is something of an oxymoron. I speak of an ancient tradition, the tradition of the oikos. And yes, that tradition relates to the phenomenon of oikophilia, and inversely, oikophobia. Oikos doesn't just mean family, it means family home and family business. In ancient Greece, where the word comes from, these things were all one and the same, as they still are in much of the world. For the vast majority of history, it was perfectly normal for the family to stay together throughout generations under the same roof and in the same business. Why shouldn't we still be doing that? Because to diverge from that is in some way progressive? Well, need I remind you that progress is another one of those euphemisms like woke that upon examination just means oikophobic. It's this idea that the only way to start a new branch of the family is to abandon the trunk of your old family. Need I elaborate what's so internally inconsistent about this premise? Your family should not be idealistically divided into the old and the new. It's the same family. The fact that your family doesn't understand this, dear Western listener, is perhaps why it's so fucking poor. The fact that Hasan Piker's family does understand this is perhaps why it's so fucking rich. I mean, the fact that they're so committed to endorsing socialism in a corrupt industry where socialist advocacy is so rewarded probably has a lot to do with it too. But you, dear sensible listener, can do the family thing without doing the socialism thing. You probably should. Family is crucially important, after all, because it promotes cohesion. Socialism is negatively important because it promotes division. By design. It's only families that were already rich enough in the first place and already politically hypocritical in the second place who can even get away with it. Fuck me, that was a hell of a tangent. But a quite necessary one. Should I even bother carrying on? Yeah, alright, I will. Might as well give you your money's worth. Let's do some of Hasan's greatest hits. Might be fun. Let's fucking go.
This will never happen, but in a totally just world, any kind of, regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi.
I'm certainly not here to simp for Zionists or neo-Nazis, but it has to be said they don't have all that much in common, Zionists and Nazis. I mean, when you get down to brass taxes, certainly nothing that they don't also have in common with fucking Hamas or Hezbollah or fucking Islam in general. Stop me when I'm getting cold.
And you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher.
Yeah. I believe I already covered this to some extent. You'll remember that highly controversial shit I said earlier on about how to appropriately treat those who are not your own kind. I already outlined it with that rant just now about how important your own kind is. Yeah? Perspective is everything, isn't it? One way or another, I'm not sure we should be looking to an Islamist for opinions about dogs, or indeed a misanthrope when it comes to opinions about humans.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization that is also a part of the Lebanese parliament.
Do we like them or no?
I think as a resistance group, they're pretty successful against Israel. But everybody hates them. Like everybody in the region, a lot of people don't like them.
If everyone in the region didn't like them, they wouldn't be in power. Unless they took over the region by force. I mean, you did mention Lebanon, didn't you? For anyone not in the know, there are many regions in the Middle East, many peoples in the Middle East and beyond, who never wanted to be ruled by Islam. Such rule was forced upon them by bloody conquest. Something Israel, yes, I'm not defending anyone, just saying. Blardy fork you blardy.
Were there brutal, unjustifiable acts of violence that civilians had to endure? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen the fucking videos. I know. I saw the girl with the dreads in the back of the pickup truck. That shit is completely unacceptable. That might not represent the interests of the Palestinians, but that is violent retribution that was an inevitability.
Retribution can go both ways, Mr. Piker. I can't say much else, lest I be arrested.
Violence is unstoppable in that situation. If all you know is violence, if all you have withstood is violence, if every single moment of your life is violent, some fucking douchebags are going to behave in that regard.
No comment. Well, okay, comment. I might as well say, the daughters and sons of Britain didn't do shit to anyone. So don't act too surprised when they enact retribution for the shit done to them. I do not endorse such retribution, lest I be arrested.
Doesn't matter if fucking rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much. So that's the other part of this problem that many people that can't contend with. Like,
please, please, for the love of whatever God you believe in, do not rape anyone. There is never any justifiable reason for that. Death, on the other hand, is quite different. If it's cheaper to string them up than it is to deport them, then by all means just string the fuckers up. What countries am I talking about? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The standard of reasonable doubt matters, but beyond that, doesn't matter. String them up. For legal reasons, I do not endorse what I just said.
oh, like overall, what my favorite flag? Yeah. Hezbollah. Look it up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag.
I don't know flags.
It's, this is a...
You know what? I'm going to be brave.
Come on.
My favorite flag.
It's got an AK on it and a fucking hand holding it up.
He's saying this with the rainbow flag right there on the table. And he gets away with it. He's been getting away with it for years. If there was a flag representing electrocuting dogs, he would have been praising that flag for years. But the moment he actually throws a gay off of a tall building, people would go, oh man, that was unexpected. Was it?
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it. We fucking totally brought it on ourselves, dude.
I mean, I had to throw that one in for good measure, didn't I? So, yeah, in the event that this really is or might be the end of Hasan Piker, I felt the need to finally give him the Dr. Random Account treatment before he perhaps disappears into the ether forever. But I'm writing and recording this at the end of October, a couple of weeks after everyone stopped giving a shit about the thing that anyone ever did actively give a shit about, namely, allegedly, electrocuting a dog. And believe me, I'm putting scare quotes around that allegation just in case that offends anyone. And yeah, we've heard a lot of concessions, even by Hasan's detractors, along the lines of, well, yeah, I too also electrocute my dog, like Hasan does. After all, that's why these shock collars exist, and they are openly for sale on the internet, and even for sale in pet stores, specifically sold as devices designed to electrocute dogs. But when I use those devices, it's for completely different reasons. I only do it to discipline my dog for completely acceptable reasons. Okay. Just like you only genitally mutilate your dogs for completely acceptable reasons. Just like you only genitally mutilate humans for completely acceptable reasons. And my brother in Christ, I do so solemnly wish that I could only attribute these reasons to the backward sadistic cultures originating from the Middle East, where they are not my brothers in Christ, where they outwardly and openly hate dogs for ideological reasons, and they will conjure any excuse for being horrifically cruel to them. But my dude, god damn my dude, god fucking damn. And I mean every word of that. Every word. God and fucking and damn. If an animal cannot functionally exist in our society without getting electrocuted, or without parts of its genitals getting amputated, then maybe it doesn't belong in our society in the first place. This may leave you wondering what the difference might be between the victims of these amputations, between men and dogs. Do dogs really need to have parts of their genitals amputated? And if the answer is yes, otherwise they will rape everything, then that would suggest to me that these animals are too rapey to exist in our society. This might, it probably applies to ducks as well, and that's why people don't have pet ducks around their babies and their children. In my opinion, it does not apply to the men of our society when it comes to the fold of skin at the end of their dicks. But if it applies to both bollocks of the dogs in our society, then maybe those dogs do not belong in our society. And given the two opposing solutions, one, we should amputate their testicles, or two, maybe they shouldn't be here in the first place, I, for one, would plump for two. Let's let them live their lives in the wild and not cut their bollocks off. And apparently, I'm the one who hates dogs. The people who love dogs are the people who want to genitally mutilate those dogs so they can safely imprison those dogs in their human box. What a world, what a world, I'm melting. And then I move on to elaborating that I don't want Sharia law in our country. I don't want men's genitals mutilated, I don't want women's genitals mutilated, and I don't want animals strung upside down while some religious quack slits their throats and watches them bleed out painfully. But those things are different, yes. Yes, they are different. It's like 5 on the completely unnecessary pain scale is different from 9 on the completely unnecessary pain scale. And here I bring it back to basics. Cats like climbing as much as they can. They probably don't like ceilings. And dogs like running as much as they can. They probably don't like walls. To subject these animals to the restrictive constraints of the human box, surrounded by ceilings and walls, is, let's just say, to be conservative, perhaps a 1 on the completely unnecessary pain scale. And I don't mean to distract anyone from the more general and more emergent point that Hasan Piker's Sharia law should not be imposed on the West. Restrictive cruelty against animals is bad enough. Restrictive cruelty against humans is, if anything, even worse. And yes, I get it, domesticated animals are just that. Domesticated. They've been domesticated for so long that in many cases they could no longer survive in the wild. It's an unfortunate state of affairs. But I once again remind you that it's only a matter of so-called progress before the same thing could be said about human beings, as we are plunged deeper and deeper into state dependence. And I know what you might perhaps be thinking. Pets have masters. Pets have owners who are the masters and or owners of individual adult humans. Well, it's the government, isn't it? We're already several generations into this experiment where human beings have been reduced to merely the pets of the hyper-real machine we call the government. Do you like how it's going so far? Do you like what these governments were able to do to us 5 years ago when they locked us in our human boxes and they assured us that it was for our own good? Were you perfectly okay with the ceilings and the walls when that happened? Do you like what Islam promises for us? Where women cannot leave the house without a male chaperone? That sucks for men and women, by the way. It infringes on the freedom and security of women and men. Are you okay with that? Bloody hell, I hope not. Well, if you think it's okay to do that to other animals, not for essential nutritional sustenance, but simply for your own insecure amusement, then you have already failed the first test, and you can hardly be surprised when you fail the second. If dogs in their natural state cannot be afforded freedom in human society, then they do not belong in human society. And if Muslims in their natural state cannot be afforded freedom in a non-Muslim society, then they do not belong in a non-Muslim society. Am I comparing dogs with Muslims? As though Muslims are some kind of stunted animals that cannot coexist with other animals? Yes. I am even comparing Muslims to domesticated pigs. And on that note, I will stop, because I probably should. Thanks for coming, everyone. Don't hit like, don't hit subscribe, don't hit the notification bell. None of it does anything not on this channel. Please do follow me on alternative media sites. Those of you who still haven't already rage quit on me. Just to clarify, if you are determined to try to befriend animals, even if you have to trap them in your human space, I understand. This world can get very lonely, and not everyone can make peace with the loneliness like I can. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and who am I to deny you the dogs that you eat? The dogs you are. If you appreciate the controversial things I endeavour to say on this channel, please do donate in the options below. I need such donations more than ever because, as I indicated, I'm desperately strapped for cash. But with your help, I can delay the inevitable downsizing. In the meantime, if you want to hear more of me, please do tune into Badger live streams. I do 2 shows a week over yonder, and I don't just sit there, I say things. But I also make room for other people saying things. I like it that way. Just like I like leaving room for y'all to say things in the comment section below, and I will never delete your comments, no matter how spicy they are. Get on in there. Please do berate me for challenging your chosen lifestyle, by all means. I, for one, am a different kind of addict. I like to consume dead plant matter for my own amusement, which I'm sure is much worse than you trapping live sentient animals for your own amusement. Feel free to shame me for my vices while you pretend that your vices are virtues. That makes for a hell of a conversation, I tell you what. I'll see you down there, but you might not see me. Bwah!
Men's rights activists are machines, dude, okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.